With Bitcoin continuing to test my patience as it absolutely skyrockets sideways, all signs point to the global market open on Monday as the determining factor for massive dumpiness on variant fears, or massive pumpiness to overreaction and irrational fear. I'm your host, Marky Meganut, and the moment we've all been waiting for is almost here. Or maybe it isn't. So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to like, subscribe, give me these absolutely time-sensitive alerts as well. If you're interested in any bonuses, make sure to check out the pinned comment and description below. And as well, 4 days and almost 20 hours, nice, until the next winner of Ledger or equivalent in BTC is chosen. And remember, all you have to do is leave a comment below to enter, and it is for subscribers. And without any further ado, let's dump on in. So Bitcoin has a lot going on today after a rather tame, quiet weekend. This next week, Monday, is what everyone is expecting for the start of fireworks. And so if we start off here, guys, we're going to be getting a weekly close in just hours. And by the time you're watching this, perhaps we already have. But this weekly candle, it does not look great, okay? What we've been saying, though, as well, testing the 21 week down here around 50K, I think is going to happen. Been saying that for like last week, so it looks like we're getting closer and closer to that. But Bitcoin risks its lowest weekly close in 2 months, but Bitcoin buyers stock up at 53K. So one of the big things I want to highlight here is just that, according to the CEO of Celsius, we may see a retest of 53K for Bitcoin and 4K for ETH. But there should be short-term bottoms with us going back to $70,000 from here. And again, I see it even going a little bit below that in a very quick move. Honestly, I think that a lot of the fear in this market is unfounded. And whether this new variant ends up being good or bad in terms of whatever they discover with it, the markets are more affected by uncertainty anyway. So if we get a bad result or a good result, either one of them I think is better than the uncertainty before we know. Because again, markets hate that. It hates uncertainty. And so could we see a little dip on Monday? Absolutely. I believe the time frame is about a week and a half from now until we have some really good information on just how different this variant may be. But again, I think it's all a short-term buying opportunity, as I'm sure many of you are in agreement with and are aware of as well. The crypto fear and greed index as well returned to extreme fear. Obviously, people are very nervous, uncertain about this. And Bitcoin has already been tumbling a little bit over the past 2 weeks anyway. And again, as I've been saying for the last week, I'm surprised we already haven't seen 50K. So if we take a look at Bitcoin, obviously now we've gotten this bearish cross that we've been talking about, the 21 going below the 50 on this chart. Again, this is somewhat of a lagging indicator. It doesn't really mean anything very bearish. I mean, for example, the last time we got it back 2 months ago, exactly 2 months ago, Bitcoin didn't actually even go lower than the low that it set a few days before that. And then within a few days, it actually blew up. What is this, like 50%? 65%. So again, this is not really that important, but this is a bearish cross. Momentum is obviously more to the dumpy side, but as well, we've been saying this for the past 2 weeks, is that something I think makes a lot of sense here is if Bitcoin continues over the next week or so, even to the beginning of next month, December, and then begins reversing afterwards. Kind of like exactly what we saw repeat over these last few months. Right now, fear is very high for Bitcoin as it sits above 50,000. 2 months ago, fear was very high when it was at 40K. And then 4 months ago, fear was very high when it was at 30K. So we've seen this like every 2 months. We've seen something similar here. And if I would summarize it, if we're not at the bottom yet, we're extremely close. And yeah, I mean, that's really the key takeaway there. So again, I still could see another week max, I think, of dumpiness here and unfortunately sideways trading. But yeah, if we look at some of these smaller time frames, there's nothing to convince me yet that this is over. All the technicals are still, they seem pretty bearish so far. But at this very second, Bitcoin's already seen a 20% drawdown from its all-time highs set about 3 weeks ago. And if you're familiar with bull markets, 20% drops in a bull market is more than common, okay? So especially after what we saw over the past few months with that almost 70% rise. As you guys new channel, make sure you like, subscribe, turn these absolute time-sensitive alerts as well, guys. Make sure, just leave your comment below. As well, to follow my real Instagram, we're still doing a competition over there as well, and that'll end in 3 days, I believe, at the very end of this month. My real Instagram is in the pinned comments and description below. I only have one Instagram, and I only have one Twitter as well, and they're both linked in the description. And as well, if you're interested in any other bonuses, make sure to check out the description and pinned comments below. Without any further ado,